Alright, yo, 'tis I, Cyberblitz, and I've gotten myself into a bit of a situation. So my sister recently bought herself a classical guitar, and she said unto me that she would be the best guitarist in the house. So obviously I took that personally. I vowed to destroy her in a guitar battle at the end of the summer, August 1st. The problem is, I don't have anything to play. You see, we have two problems with that. One, I don't have anything to play, and two, I can't play to begin with. So I need to solve both of those problems, of course, starting with the thing to play. So in today's episode of What Will Cyberblitz Do Next, I will be composing a masterpiece for the electric guitar. Now, there are two problems with that itself. We're getting a problemception right now. I have never composed for an individual instrument before, obviously, because I make dubstep, right? And I've especially never composed for the guitar, which is way more complicated than, like a piano or something. I make little piano pieces at the end of my songs sometimes, but this is different. And even bigger problem, I need it to be better than whatever the heck my sister plays. So this is a rather daunting task, to say the least, but I'm going to figure it out because I need to establish my dominance over this instrument and over the people in my house. So what my process today is going to be, I'm going to compose via MIDI on the computer, right? I'm going to do the best I can there, and then I'm going to translate that to the guitar and make sure that everything is actually playable on the guitar. So I'm not going to use like 19-note chords or anything, right? Since I only have 8 strings available to me. And then I have to turn that all into tablature, which I'm going to use MuseScore for. So I don't want the intro to be super complicated so it doesn't overshadow everything else in the song, but I also don't want it to be, trash. So what I'm going to do in the intro is probably arpeggiate the chords that I'm using. I might have to learn sweep picking. That's definitely not going to be easy, but I will certainly figure it out. And then in the drop, if you will, the main chorus part, I want that to be a whole lot more complicated. I want to include a way more complex chord progression, which, music theory and whatnot. And I want to make some of that Tim Henson type shit. Obviously, I'm not nearly skilled enough to do what he does, but I will sure try. And then before the end, I want to include a heavier kind of metal part just to prove I can play a good rhythm section. And then outro, I guess I'll figure that out when we get there. So yeah, I'm going to start out just figuring out the chords I want to play for the intro. I'm going to stick with E minor for most of this song besides the heavier part because I kind of already have that section thought out a little bit more. So yeah, let's do this. Once again, going to start really simple in the intro just to figure out what kind of chords I'm playing. So far I've got 2 chords. Alright guys, I think I'm done here. Obviously joking. I don't want any too complex chords to be in the intro. Gonna save that for later, so I'm just gonna kind of denotate these. Duplicate that. Use that to an A sus4, might as well. Among Us. I would figure out exactly how I'm gonna arpeggiate each of these chords, but that really depends on the chord shape I use. So I'm just gonna deal with it later. Actually, what I might do is just have this intro part as just the chords and then start arpeggiating here. So put that arp. And then for now, I just like auto arpeggiate it. I still want part of the chord to be included, so. And obviously, once again, the ARP that I'm using right here is not going to be the ARP I actually play. Real quick, I'm going to pose this question to certain places just so I can get some advice while I'm composing. By the way, join my Discord, link in description. Okay, so from here, I want to transition into the sort of drop. Thing is, I don't know how to do that on guitar. Since, this isn't dubstep, I can't just do like a build up. Actually, you know what? I can just move this over here. Maybe play something on the 8th string. All right, now I get the pleasure of genetically modifying this chord progression to be jazzier. Or maybe I can come up with something different entirely. We'll see. Maybe I should first figure out what I want to exactly do with this. Yeah, I'm just going to get rid of all this. I want to modulate into multiple keys, maybe like twice, I guess. I need to end up on F minor though. So I'm going to set that as the end goal, like over here. Control T right there. Another Control T, mod to F. I'm going to modulate to something else. I think I can modulate to B because I do have a B string as my 7th string, so I can potentially use some open chords there. Maybe I can modulate to like a really weird scale over here. Something in B though, still. Maybe I can see if I can use one of the modes. I haven't really tried using any other modes besides, Phrygian. So maybe there's something interesting in here. Okay, I'm going to try F Phrygian dominant for this last one since I do like that scale quite a bit. I don't know if I sharpen the 7th on the Phrygian dominant. Is that another scale? I think that might be the so-called Arabic scale, if that's what it's called in here. Yeah, if I press that. Yep, that's exactly that. So I definitely like this scale. Very spicy. And yeah, this is just E minor over here, so I want to try something different for this B. I don't believe I've tried Mixolydian yet, so maybe we'll do something with that. Obviously, everything isn't just going to be 100% in those scales, but you know, I'm actually going to copy and paste these into here so they're just kind of like ghost notes, so I can see what I'm working with more effectively. And now I think I'm just going to figure out the transition chords so I can figure out how in the world exactly I'm going to modulate between E minor and B Mixolydian. Jesus, what have I done? Okay, it looks like they share one note in common, and that is the E string. Oh, and A. E and A. That's useful. Okay, it looks like I can probably use A minor as a transitionary chord. What is this? I think this is an A minor 6 chord, and then turn that into like a major 7 maybe. That actually works surprisingly well. I'm wondering if there's a key that shares all these notes. Actually, probably not, since this minor third sounds kind of out of place with this chord. And since I end on an A chord in this chord progression, I think that should work fairly well here. If I effectively just keep the chord progression I have now, or at least something similar. The kind of characteristic note of Mixolydian is this minor 7th, so I'm going to try my best to utilize that when I'm in this part. Now I'm questioning maybe I want to change to like A minor here. Well, then that would leave out this note here, which is what? So what is that? Dorian, maybe? I think. Yeah, so this A, what is it? I honestly don't know what this chord is called. It's not a minor 6 because that would be this. I don't know. What would that be? Sharp 6? A minor sharp 6, I think. Either way, this should be a Dorian, so I'm going to stamp that. And yeah, it looks like those are all the same notes anyways. That's barely even Mixolydian anymore. That's just C sharp minor now. Actually, we're not going to go to F just yet. I'm going to move this over here. We're going to stay in C sharp minor here, but I want to go back to E minor and then something that'll flow a little better into F. Hold up, let me look up the tried and true circle of fifths. All right, so I think what I can do is go from E minor to E major and then go across and land some over here so I can then land in F minor. And that needs to happen in this section here. So I already have the E minor there. 1, 2, 3, 4. All right, that should just be a normal 4 chord change. So that's kind of what I need to do there. I think I can use these same transition chords as well. Yeah, I might be able to start with that instead. That makes a lot more sense. Since that A chord I had really seemed like it wanted to resolve down to that E major. So that actually sounds quite a bit better. All right, so I still gotta somehow get from here to that F minor, but this really sounds like a resolution. So I'm gonna have to fix that. So I need to go to like G minor next. Do gotta get rid of all that though. Actually, just this stuff here. I gotta find a chord in E major that isn't E major. So this doesn't sound like it's just gonna end right here. I think this G minor has some potential. Since it still sounds like a logical conclusion to these two chords, but it still feels like it could go elsewhere. I'm gonna mess around with some other stuff first though. That one kind of even more so. Okay, maybe I'm getting too complex with this. Yeah, I think so. Okay, I'm gonna move this over here then. I think that'll work, something like that, at least. Oh, this is F sharp. Crap. I think it can still work though. It'll be fairly dark, but you know, maybe also I could do something else, maybe like one of these diminished chords. I think that works. I think I gotta figure out something better with this though. Actually, I think I can add a little bit of a section here, since I do need time to go from just normal, pretty clean guitar to distortion. So I will add an extra bar here. Yeah, I think I can work with that. I gotta write some kind of riff here. Then I'm just gonna put down here what I already have for this heavy section. I'm honestly gonna figure out what in the world I need to do for this second half of this heavier section. I want to solidify myself into the Arabic scale here. So I'm going to do some scale run kind of things after these chords. I'm just going to run down the scale another time here. All right, for the outro, I think I'm just going to have this one final chord and then some, you know, some of that right there. Nothing too complicated, right? Or actually, maybe I can take these chords and translate them to this F minor over here. I think something like that would work better than just, one chord at the outro. And then I gotta have that chord as the outro anyways. All right, I'm gonna start figuring out what to do for this so-called drop section. I think this is a fairly good riff, I guess. I'm gonna duplicate that and kind of riff off that, I guess. Yeah, this is gonna be super difficult to play. Definitely worth 2 months of practice. And this can be a chord just slow strummed, if you will. Also gotta fix this part. I don't think this just running down the scale is good enough. All right, I think it's time I actually translate this into something usable. So I'm gonna use this book right here to start figuring out what I should actually use. And of course, I do have a guitar with me, so I will be using these in tandem with each other. Yeah, honestly, the more bar chords, the better, so I'm gonna look for those in this book. I didn't know a chord shape for E. What I'm gonna do is go here, and wherever I need to, I'm going to mark off a page number for the chord I need, so when I actually start writing the tabs, I can just, find the page number and write it down. Never mind, these pages aren't numbered. I think I can figure out a good enough format to notate this though, so I'll figure that out when the time comes. The time being right now, of course. Like I said, for the intro at least, the more bar chords, the better, because those are, fairly easy. But I'm gonna spend like an hour writing page numbers in this book, because this is absolutely annoying. All right, just finished numbering every page in this book, so this should be a lot easier. I'm gonna go ahead and notate all the chords real quick. What the Why did that sound completely off though? Oh, because I was playing it completely wrong. I think that's that, and then I just have to figure out what frets to play for, the in-between parts between chords. All right, I think that means it's time for me to convert this to tablature, and that's going to be an impossible task, but I will figure it out.